Hi everyone, it's Moa aka Swedish Whiskey Girl, and today is World Whisky Day! So I thought it would be very fitting to today try not one but two World Whisky Blends. So I have that Boutique World Whisky Blend here, and I have to say a massive thank you to Atom Brands Master of Malt for sending me this bottle. I'm so excited to try it. And by chance, we also found this on Master of Malt, the Orbital 8-year-old blend, which was actually on the flash sale for £15. So could not resist it. And of course, thanks to our friend Stuart for making us aware that it was there as well. So if we start with That Boutique Whiskey Company, this is a blend of so many things. We heard Dave from Boutique Company talk about it the other day, and he said that there's whiskey, there's both grain whiskey, there's bourbon, there's single malts in this, and they're from everywhere from Kentucky, from Tennessee, Ireland, Scotland, Sweden, Netherlands, Taiwan, India, Finland, and probably a lot of other places that I can't remember at the moment, but it's an incredible little experiment. They also have here on the bottle, which I've just shown you in the intro as well, that they have it, that this is inspired by how the world likes to drink their whiskies, be it neat or be it with a mixer. And it also gives you these kind of different like examples of what you can use, which is everything from green tea, cola, coconut water, tonic soda or ginger ale. So what's your mixer of choice? And this whiskey sits at 41.6% ABV. So yeah, let's try it. Oh, interesting. Immediately I get like a juniper note. It's like that kind of lovely floral juniper that you find in gin. It's a bit like a neutral alcohol as well in there. Could just be that my nose is not used to nosing alcohol just yet. This is my first dram of the day. Yeah, but definitely that kind of floral juniper notes. Very interesting. But let's have a little taste. Slangeva. What a really fascinating flavour. It just keeps going. It goes a bit from like an initial hit of bourbon, then it reminds you a bit of a Scotch, and then the finish is Irish. If you can generalise flavours in that way. Maybe it's just because I know what it is, but very interesting. And now it's quite smooth, but definitely that initial hit of kind of, yeah, bourbon style influence, which then mellows out to like an elegant kind of Scotch fruitiness, and then lingers with this kind of Irish smooth grain fruitiness. Fascinating. I love this. This is great. I know Dave also said that this is a good whiskey if you want to try a highball, for example, and I'm actually gonna have a highball video up here later on today, so I hope you'll watch that as well. And yeah, I mean, I think the way they wanted this whiskey to turn out was just a good sipping whiskey. We bring all of the world's whiskies together, sit at home, enjoy this at any time, enjoy it on a Monday, enjoy it on a Sunday, enjoy it with your Coke, enjoy it with your barbecue sauce, I don't know, but just enjoy it whatever way you want to enjoy it. And I think it's definitely a super interesting whiskey with so many different layers to it. Perfect jam for World Whisky Day. Please let me know if you've tried this and what you thought. Put them in the comments here below. It's just quite smooth and easygoing, but a lot of flavour. It's like, in my jaws I have that bourbon note. The finish is definitely that kind of what reminds me of an Irish whiskey, that smooth cereal fruitiness. And I like how when he described this, he went through all these different countries, he mentioned exactly what they were. It was grain whiskies from Ireland, it was rye whiskey from this place, and it was Tennessee whiskey, and it was Kentucky bourbon. And then he said they topped it off with a dash of Scotch, which I kind of like, very kind of nice. But I'll come back to this in a second. Let's go on to the Orbital. So the Orbital is an 8-year-old blend. It consists of both malt whiskies and grain. So this is from the Whisky Magazine because they got sent a lot of samples, so they kind of mixed all these samples together and then they finished them off in a Pedro Jimenez sherry cask. So quite an interesting little experiment as well, because it's almost like it's your infinity bottle. If you have a lot of little samples and stuff in bottles and you just throw them all together, and that could be your infinity bottle. So instead of doing that, they just threw all these samples together and stored it in a cask, and then here we have a World Blend. So let's have a little nose on this one. And oh yeah, before I forget, so this one sits at 46% ABV. Oh, interesting nose. It's very smooth, easygoing nose. It's quite lemony, so like sweet lemon. Very, very pleasant. A bit of that kind of easygoing sherry raisin sweetness as well, along that zesty sweet lemon. And some bigger fruitiness in there as well, like almost like white grapes. A bit of a nature vibe, but let's have a taste. Slanjava. Oh wow. Oh wow. What is this? It's really nice. It's big in its flavour as well. This reminds me more of a Scotch. It doesn't remind me as much of an Irish or a bourbon. But that might be because there's no bourbon in this. It's only malt whiskies. But if you gave this to me blind, I'd probably guess it's a Scotch. But it has a lot of flavour. And quite a big mouthfeel. Like it's quite thick and enjoyable. And yet quite big, if that makes sense. Definitely a fruitiness, like a green apple, pear, green fruits fruitiness. A bit of that kind of grape as well. It definitely has this kind of sherry influence, but it's almost like I would guess it's a big kind of, that Speyside fruitiness coming through, but it's almost like thicker than most whiskies I've tried before. It's big in a way that I would almost guess it's a single cask, but I wouldn't guess it's a single cask Pedro Jimenez, even though you have those sherry notes, because it's weird. Because if I would guess this was a single cask, I wouldn't guess, I might guess like an American oak sherry influence. If you season an American oak cask with Pedro Jimenez for a shorter amount of time, and then finish the whiskey in it, or like, it's difficult to explain, but it's not all of those sherry notes like a sherry bomb would give you, but it does have some of that raisin notes and some of those kind of darker fruity, dried fruit sherry notes that are quite red and dark purple. They do have some of those influence, but more mellow, but it has kind of the mouthfeel and the bigness of a single cask. Does that make sense at all? It has like a pleasant pine, leathery, woody note as well, amongst that kind of Speyside fruitiness. And when I say Speyside fruitiness, I of course mean this kind of general note that you tend to find in a lot of Speyside whiskies, but not in all. It's just an easier way to kind of explain it, I think. Very pleasant. Let's go back to the first one, see what I think. Very curious notes. It's quite ginny. I wonder if it's that kind of neutral grain spirit coming through, and then alongside that juniper note. Very interesting. This one definitely has an easier mouthfeel, but it's also smoother and more. It all depends on what you like. If you like a bit of an easier going, like kind of floral, super interesting, bourbony, Scotch-Irish melody that just plays in your mouth, then the World Whisky Blend is great, and I can't wait to try in a highball as well. And if you want something thicker, something quite big in its flavours, but quite also very interesting. They're so interesting, these two, and I'm so happy I got to try them. And what better to try on World Whisky Day than two World Whisky Blends? But I think one of them has this kind of more everyday going, wherever you are, whatever mood you're in, this will always work. And if you're fascinated about world whiskies and want to kind of recognize these different generic flavors and how they change, because I do think this one changes so much when you taste it, then that would take a whiskey company. But if you want something that's quite thick, quite Scotchy, if you would say so, then the Orbital might be one for you. Don't know if there's any left, but I mean, £15 for the Orbital is a great price, and I mean, I'm so happy I got to try this for World Whisky Day, so massive thank you to you guys again. These are definitely two whiskies that I will be enjoying a lot of, and hopefully sharing with my friends, even though I can't see them at the moment. But I would love to hear what you think of World Whisky Blends. Have you tried these two before? Or perhaps you have another World Whisky Blend you think I should try. As always, please remember to subscribe and like this video if you've liked it. And I also now have a Patreon, so if you feel like you want to support me and also see some sneak peeks and exclusive content, then check that out. The links are all here below. And as always, have a lovely day, have a great World Whisky Day, Slanjava, skål!